Greetings everyone, I am Talisman and welcome to my galaxy. Today I thought we'd analyse and break down parts of the trailer for Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire. We'll be also speculating about some things that will happen or could be potentially happening within the movie, and even touch upon some things that I think would personally happen within the movie, just based on what we know and some of the leaks that have happened as well within the last week or so. I am not a leaker, I'm not an insider, I have no knowledge or connections to anyone at Warner Brothers or Legendary Pictures. I don't know what's happening behind the scenes. I am just purely going off my own imagination and what is out there currently. So if you're the type of person who doesn't want to be spoiled about anything, has no interest in the movie, or is, not even curious and just wants to go in blind to this movie, feel free to click off now and just be warned that I'm going to be touching upon some things. But if you're still here, I would assume that you know about some of the leaks or are interested in some of them, and I would encourage you to please like, comment, subscribe, put down your own theories. If you think I'm wrong about something, let me know. If you think of a better idea or you have your own thoughts and opinions, let me know. I'd love to hear them. But with that said, I want to get right into the video and what I believe the story is going to be about and having it. So I think to start off with, it's coming off the back of Godzilla vs. Kong. So we know that because obviously it's the next installment. And with that said, I would imagine that there's going to be a lot of things within the opening credits and even at the start of the movie for the first 5 or so minutes, where we're going to have people from Monarch, probably news broadcasts, talking about the fallout from Godzilla and Kong's fight, even the fight with Mechagodzilla. I think we're all going to be talking and hearing a lot about that. I would imagine that Monarch is going to have a lot to say at the start of the movie, especially when it comes to Godzilla and Kong, because Godzilla is roaming around the seas now and Kong is in Hollow Earth. I would assume that Monarch's keeping tabs, close tabs on both of them and keeping them as separate as possible. It wouldn't surprise me because they're two alphas and they're going to compete with each other. And they don't want this very tentative agreement an alliance between them to be disturbed. So, with that said, I would imagine that we're going to also get a lot of imagery between Godzilla and Kong with the fight. We've seen a lot of it at the start of Godzilla vs. Kong. I think that's going to resurface. I am also going to have a theory here, my own speculation. Back in April of this year, we had the 30-second teaser trailer of that orange orangutan-like ape creature sitting on top of the throne with all the bones and that around him, and as the camera pans back, we see Godzilla and Kong's skull illuminated in light. Minus the skull of Kong and Zilla, I think that we're still going to get that scene, and I think that's going to be foreshadowing the new enemy, which has been dubbed the Scar King. I don't know if that's what they're going to be naming in the movie, but that's what I've heard is its name from other YouTubers and people within the community. So if that shot is used in the first 10 to 15 minutes of the trailer, I think it will definitely set the tone for the movie. It's a great shot, it's a great visual shot, and I think that'd be perfect for the opening or some point in the opening of the movie. But yes, we're going to have a lot of talk from Monarch. We hear in the trailer the voiceover talking about how they thought life was all on the surface of the Earth, but they were wrong. So my guess is that this movie is going to spend a significant chunk in Hollow Earth and venturing through it. Maybe 25, 30, 40% of the movie might be set in there. I could be wrong. It is Warner Brothers and Legendary Pictures after all. They could throw us a curveball, but it would make sense to spend a significant amount of time in Hollow Earth exploring and seeing things through not only Kong's eyes but Monarch's eyes, because this is going to be, there's a team of scientists following Kong throughout the trailer. It would not surprise me if we do get to see a lot through their eyes and what they're exploring. I wouldn't imagine there's going to be a fight or two between Kong and another species. We've got the war bats down there we saw in Godzilla versus Kong. Pardon me. We have, those hyena wolf-like creatures running around we see in the trailer. We have the pteranodon-looking creatures flying through the skies. There's plenty of things down there. I'm sure we'll see a fight or two, maybe. I'm hoping so, anyway. In the trailer, we do see the introduction of Diddy Kong, the baby Kong that we see coming out of the mist. And I'm going to assume that this Kong is going to be important to the story in a certain way. I think it's also going to be the key to finding the troop of Kongs that we see in the trailer, which are led by the Scar King. And I'll touch a bit more about that in a moment. I would not be surprised when it comes to the start of the movie 2 if we do have mention from Monarch or from some sort of news broadcast or something that there's activity in Antarctica and that Godzilla has been sighted heading in that direction. Now, the reason why I say that is because I've got something later on that will tie into that. I have no knowledge that that is actually what is going to happen, but it would make sense to me, and that if I was writing this particular movie, that's what I would have happen in it. But once again, that's a theory, it's a guess. But I think that's going to be pretty much the only mention we're going to have of Godzilla for a little bit. And once again, I'll get to that in a moment. I was thinking to myself, this whole introduction of Diddy Kong could be setting up Kong to be a mentor, a father figure, a potential father figure. We see him in the trailer, exploring Hollow Earth with his axe and going into different caverns. And I'm going to hazard a guess that it's this exploration that leads him into finding this young Kong. When we get to, at some point, we're going to have Kong enter the Scar King's domain, and he's going to be interacting with other Kongs. Personally, I could see, and I'm going to theorize, that when he actually encounters this troop, that he's going to be welcomed with open arms by the other Kongs. I can see it now. They're hooting, hollering, they're cheering, they're jumping on him and hanging off him. And because he's carrying his axe with the Godzilla dorsal fin as the blade, it might be a symbol of authority and power to them. Like that, wow, this Kong has taken down our enemy. And we know that they're enemies because there's cave paintings of them being fighting. There's a lot of heavy imagery in the past mentioning that. It might be a symbol of power within Kong's troop, that yes, you took down a Godzilla, even though he didn't in the movie. Like, he didn't kill Godzilla in the movie, but the fact that he fought, he's got this axe, maybe it's a symbol of power. I'm going to have a guess that this is where we're going to get the full introduction of the Scar King. No silhouettes, no shadowy imagery, no glowing eyes. I think this is where we're going to be seeing him more flesh and blood moving around. And I think he's going to be interesting in watching Kong with eager eyes. We see that in the trailer where he's lurking around, he's moving. And when I was thinking about this and watching the trailer, I got this image in my head of what their interaction between the Scar King and Kong is going to be like. Because when you think about it, the Scar King would be considered an alpha titan, right? And I'm sure Kong's not going to bow down to him, and the Scar King's not going to bow down to him. But then I noticed something when I was watching the trailer really piqued my interest. When you look at the Scar King moving around and you see his fur and the face reveal, it may be just me, but it just didn't look natural. It looked like there was something off about the fur. And I started to think, wouldn't it be great if the human characters talk about it and say that he looks like he is stained. Like, he's been in that many fights. Not only is his body covered in scars, earning him named the Scar King, but he's been bathed in the blood of his enemies. He's been through that many fights. His fur has been stained to the point where it is now a permanent red. That would be interesting and symbolically fantastic, that you have a creature that is obviously, I'm going to imagine, a lot larger than Kong. Probably a good 20-30 meters taller than Kong. Maybe slightly more. Maybe 80 meters. I don't know. But someone who's taller than Kong, older than Kong, been in more battles, survived those battles, and bathed in the blood of every single enemy that he has ever been in. It's almost like baptized by fire, so to speak. He is a veteran warrior, and someone who is definitely not to be messed with. The other thing that I think that makes this Kong menacing is not just the look of him and the possibility of him being stained in blood, but also that you see that belt of, or looks like bones made in a belt pattern. I've heard some say it's a belt, I've heard some say that it's a whip. I don't think it matters which way it is. The fact that it's bones and it's being worn by this Kong, it shows that this thing's intelligent. Real intelligent. And if it's real intelligent and violent and aggressive, then we've got a kaiju or a titan who is not to be messed with in any way, shape or form. And that sets great villain. It sets up a really good thing, I think, villain-wise. And when you really analyze it a bit more, put your mindset in the Scar King's head for a second. Get yourself out of your shoes and put into his shoes. If you were sitting there on a throne and you had another Kong being led into your troop, and the other members of this group are welcoming him with open arms, and he's carrying the axe with the dorsal fin of your enemy on it, I don't know about you, but if that was me and I was that creature, the first thing I'd be going is, who are you? What are you doing here? I didn't bring you here. I'm not accepting you, and you're carrying a weapon made from not only bone, but with the body part of an enemy. Are you here to challenge me? Are you thinking you're stronger than me? You know, that it sets up that real alpha dynamic. And when we see in the trailer, we see the Scar King jump down and land on the ground, and the other Kongs, you know, get instantly scared. I'm wondering if that's that introduction where Kong comes finally face to face with the Scar King and they have that encounter. It just makes sense, poetic sense in every single sense of the word. And I think they're going to fight in this particular instance. This is my prediction. I'm going to speculate and predict that they're going to collide in that instant. And when they do, I'm sorry to disappoint all the Kong fans, but I think Kong is going to get absolutely nailed in this one. I think he's going to get absolutely beaten to a pulp. And I'm going to have two predictions with this fight. One, I think at some point in the fight, Kong is going to have his hand broken. And there's a reason why I say that, which I'll touch upon later in this video. The other thing I'm going to say is, and predict, is Kong is going to have his axe taken by the Scar King. Now, the reason why I say that is in the trailer, as the trailer progresses on, there's a few scenes we see where Kong is not carrying his axe anymore. And here is the clinch, and I was thinking this, it would make so much sense from a story standpoint. The axe is basically an extension of Kong. It's part of Kong. It is Kong, in a way. And for the Scar King to get it, I think it symbolizes that, you know, he's taken the power away from Kong. But I'm going to predict that the Scar King is going to break that axe. I think he's going to absolutely destroy it and throw it away as if it's nothing. And from a story perspective, That would make sense because, yes, like I said, we don't see Kong holding that axe in some scenes of the trailer later on. But it would also make sense story-wise because with the axe being an extension of Kong, by having it being broken by the Scar King, it's a very powerful symbolic message that I have broken you. I have beaten you. There is nothing you can do to stop me. It puts Kong on the back foot instantly and shows that he is no match for this thing. As much as he wants it to be, as much as we want him to be, he is no match on his own against this thing. Like I said, symbolically, it is perfect. And we know that Kong doesn't back down. So I don't think he is going to run away from this fight. I'm going to hazard a guess here that either the humans from the Monarch team interfere in the fight, or the Scar King throws Kong down a ravine into the Hollow Earth, further into the Hollow Earth, and goes, well, look, you're dead, you're nothing to me, and just walks away. Treats him as trash, you know? Kong will end up surviving because we do see him in the trailer with, you know, a bit later on. But I'm going to have a guess that this particular fight is going to leave Kong in a very vulnerable state. And once again, I think he's going to have his hand broken or damaged in some way. And I will once again touch upon that when I get to the next part. Because the next part, I'm going to be focusing, switching gears from Kong to Godzilla. This is all going to be based upon my own theories, my own ideas, and what I've seen from the trailer, and nothing more. I could be completely wrong with everything I'm about to say here, but I could be wrong with everything I've said prior when it comes to Kong. I believe that part of Kong's story that I've already mentioned might come true, but might be some parts I'm missing or I'm not seeing. But anyway, when it comes to Godzilla, remember how I said at the start of the video that there is going to be some mention or a news broadcast or someone talking about activity in Antarctica and Godzilla heading that way? I believe that, yeah, that is happening because we've seen Godzilla in the ice, and I believe that, yeah, this is going to happen around the 30-minute mark. Godzilla is going to arrive there. And the reason why he's there is because a Titan has awoken within the ice. Now, we've heard through leaks and rumours, even some pictures that surface online, that apparently the Ice Titan Shimu is going to be appearing in this movie. Now, Shimu, Jarvis, would you be able to bring up a picture of Shimu, please?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, so we've got the cave painting of Shimu with two tails. The leaked image, Jarvis, can you bring that up too, please?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. With the leaked image, this is what it looks like, but as you notice, there's no tail, or there's no two tails, so maybe that could be hidden behind the back of it, or maybe it's a fake. Either way, it doesn't really matter. We have a bit of an idea that Shimu is going to be in this movie. Now, the reason why I think Antarctica would be the place is because we go back to Godzilla King of the Monsters. In that movie, we had King Ghidorah frozen in the ice, and Monarch was monitoring. Now, we knew that King Ghidorah made superstorms wherever it went, but I don't think that the temperature of a superstorm would drop that much that it instantly froze King Ghidorah. Nor do I believe that King Ghidorah would be that stupid to stand there and freeze up. It doesn't appear to be that stupid of a creature. Could it have fallen into a cavern and got stuck and froze? It's possible. Could it have fallen into the icy cold water and froze? It's possible. But I'm having a guess that Shimu was responsible for it. Shimu froze it in the ice, which would go to show how powerful Shimu would be. I think that Shimu and Godzilla are going to collide. And in the fight, I'm going to predict, if this is true, obviously, the fight is going to be Godzilla getting knocked into the ice, and Shimu is going to freeze it. Now, it's possible that it could be Godzilla's atomic breath versus Shimu's ice breath. The two collide, and it gets pushed back onto Godzilla, and he freezes. But I'm going to guess that either way, he's going to get frozen in the ice and trapped there. And this would make a lot of sense because we've heard stories and rumours that Shimu is being controlled by the Scar King. Now, whether the Scar King has sort of a mind control element to him, we know he has glowing eyes and the power of Hollow Earth. Maybe he has mind control abilities. Or that bone belt, maybe it is a whip. Maybe he's subdued Shimu. Either way, I think that would be poetic in a lot of ways. If the Scar King is menacing on his own, but if he has something like Shimu, who is considered a guard dog, an attack dog, that makes him even more deadly. And if Shimu took down Godzilla and froze him, well, then that just goes to show that Godzilla might not have been a match for him at that point. Maybe Godzilla was too confident. Maybe Shimu caught him off guard. I don't know. But it also makes sense story-wise. If Godzilla is being beaten and frozen in ice at the hands of Shimu, or should I say the claws of Shimu, and then you have the Scar King absolutely decimate and break Kong and his axe and throw him away, discard him like he was nothing, then that sets up poetic symmetry. It's perfect. It's the hero's journey where the hero gets beat. Both heroes are beaten, and now they have to come back. They have to work out a way to come back. It would explain perfectly why these two need to work together. To stop not only the Scar King but Shimu as well. And then you think about it from the human element too. Think of it from Monarch's point of view. Think of it from the everyday citizen within the MonsterVerse's point of view. If Godzilla was beaten and frozen, presumed dead by, we know he's not, but if he's presumed dead by everyone there, and yet Kong has been viciously beaten and cast aside like he is a ragdoll by the Scar King. Both of them are out of action. Both of them are in no condition to fight right this second, and even if they did, they'd still get beaten. It sets up this whole, oh my god, what is going to happen now? Earth's most powerful titans that can defend it are now out of action. To me, that just makes logical sense. From a story standpoint, that is perfect. But, with that said, every hero, the journey of every hero, they have to come back. They have to rise up and become better than what they are. So I think Monarch is going to take Kong, and they're going to find a human civilization. We see that in the trailer, and I believe that this civilization is going to teach Monarch, teach Kong about the ley lines of the Earth and how Hollow Earth energy is in those ley lines, which I think is important because that touches on Godzilla in a moment. But I think these ley lines will help teach Monarch and Kong a lot about the Hollow Earth, and maybe it will educate them about the Scar King and what's happened there. Because I have a theory that the Scar King was the one who led the Kongs in the war against Godzilla and his species. I believe he was the one, the mastermind behind it all. He wanted to be the alpha. He wanted to be in control. And the fact that he's older, been there, he's done that. The fact that he's bathed in the blood of his enemies. The fact that he's intelligent and he's built this thing. He's tamed Shimu, an ice titan who is considered one of the earliest and, first titans. That goes to show how strong he is and how clever and powerful he actually is with this whole thing. And then you have Kong and Zilla who have to rise up to the occasion to stop him. And I believe that this, by learning about Hollow Earth and what's happening there, I think Monarch, because we see in the trailer, Kong has a metal brace on his hand. I believe Monarch is the one that gives him that brace, and my guess is that Monarch built it specifically to help counter the Scar King in some way. Now, either this thing can absorb Hollow Earth energy and use it. Maybe it's a weapon like a ray gun, or maybe it is a shield of some description. Or maybe it absorbs atomic energy and just nullifies it. Maybe it redirects Godzilla's atomic breath. Who knows? I'm just speculating here, but I think it's going to even the odds a little bit. And it will also be humanity's way of not only just helping Kong, but helping themselves. We've provided Kong with our weapon. We've upgraded him ourselves. Not by mechanically engineering him or genetically modifying him, but just giving him something that might even the odds. Now, we touched upon Kong, but what about Godzilla? Remember how I mentioned about the Earth's ley lines and how this particular tribe may end up teaching us about them? I'm wondering if when Godzilla was frozen in the ice by Shimu, he was close to a ley line. Because we see him in the trailer, he rises up out of the ice and he's different. He's got his crystals on his back. They look like crystals. They're not his dorsal fins anymore. He looks bigger, in size, like height. He's a lot leaner, which I think was a bit odd choice in design, but okay, we'll go with it. It's a monster. It's supposed to be different. But I like the chunkier, bulkier Godzilla. That's just me. But he looks leaner. He's got longer arms. He's got blades on his wrists. He's different. I think he's going to get taller. And I think that that's all because he's absorbed this energy from the ley lines and powered himself up. And he's going to break free. Kong's going to get this upgrade, and both of them are going to, and we see it in the trailer, how Godzilla comes up out of the ground and Kong is running with him towards something, and they're roaring. My guess is they're charging towards the Scar King at this point. Whether it's just the Scar King alone or Scar King and Shimu, either way, I don't think it matters, because in the end, I think that shot was perfect. It looked really good. And I think this is where they take the fight to Scar King as a team, which will be quite interesting. We see that there's a picture, quite a few shots I should say, of Godzilla and Kong in the desert with the Great Pyramids. My guess is that's where all four of them, Shimu, the Scar King, Kong and Zilla, all come to the surface and they have their fight. There is a picture supposedly going around the internet, I don't know how true it is, of Godzilla and Shimu fighting each other and Kong sitting on top of the pyramid watching it all. I don't know how true it is, but if that is a true shot, that would be phenomenal to see on the big screen. I think that in the end, I think Shimu is going to be the first one to go down. Like I said, he's an attack dog. I think he's going to be one of the very first ones to go down, because the Scar King is really the big enemy of this thing. I think prediction-wise, I think this fight is going to go the way we imagined it. Obviously, Godzilla and Kong are going to win. I think Kong will deliver the final blow, though, cementing himself as... well, actually, no. Actually, I'm going to change that. I have two theories. Either Kong's going to deliver the final blow, and he will cement himself as the king of Hollow Earth, or it'll be Godzilla assisting Kong to take the final blow, like they did with in Godzilla vs. Kong, where Godzilla powered up Kong's axe to cut through Metal Godzilla. Maybe it's a similar sort of thing to that, except maybe it's the gauntlet this time. It would make a lot of sense in either way. I think that in the end, I think Kong is going to be... I can picture Kong being the mentor of the baby Kong in this, maybe teaching him. We might even see a death of one of the Titans. If it's Kong that dies, I can see this baby Kong stepping up and growing in and taking over as his role. If it's Godzilla that dies, I don't see Godzilla dying in this, only because he's just gone through a transformation. There's more to it. Maybe down the track we'll see Space Godzilla. I don't know. Or maybe it's Godzilla versus Biotanica or something like that. I can't remember all the names. But yeah, maybe it might be that, or maybe Godzilla versus Destroyer. Who would know? But it would be very interesting to see what happens afterwards. Like I said, the ending could be to go either way. It could be a death. It may be just a happy, they go separate ways sort of thing. But I'm going to hazard a guess that it's going to be Kong or both of them taking down the Scar King in the end. I think they'll leave that here for now. That's just some ideas and thoughts about it. I could be completely wrong with everything I said here. But when another trailer comes up and we get more information, I'm more than happy to deep dive into that and see if I'm right, if I'm wrong. Until then, I'd like to hear your theories, your opinions, your suggestions. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Click the notification bell, let me know when I upload next, and I'll let you know when I upload next, sorry. And yeah, please give me your feedback and your opinions. I'd love to hear what you've got to say, because without you interacting with me, I wouldn't be here doing it. And plus, it's always good to hear what others have to say. But until then, I am Talisman, and thank you for tuning in to Talisman Galaxy, and I will catch you all next time. Take care.